Hello and welcome to the BetHelper betting preview. Today's game we're going to be looking at is the final group game of Group B. It's Nigeria versus South Korea. It's scheduled for the 22nd of June at 7:30 p.m. The venue here is Durban. The other game in the group, Greece versus Argentina, is going to be kicking off at the same time, as this is the final group game. And in terms of looking at Asia, the handicap started off with Nigeria minus 0.25. That's now flipped around to Nigeria plus 0.25. So that obviously indicates a good bit of support for South Korea there to change the handicap. Nigeria are now shortening at the new handicap, which is to be expected since now they're gaining the handicap advantage, and South Korea are actually slightly drifting. And again, we'll have to look over the next 24 hours to see what actually happens with the handicap and the price action at the handicap designated. The unders and overs market, the unders handicap started at 2.25. It's now at twos, so that would indicate a support for the unders there, and it's now flat at the new 2 level. So again, people are expecting around 2 goals in this game, but under 3. Looking at the betting exchanges, the betting exchanges have Nigeria slightly drifting. They were at 3.05, they're now at 3.1, so slight change there for them. South Korea stayed flat throughout the week. They're at 2.64, and the draws also remain flat. It's at 3.35. The overs market, the over 2.5 goal market, is slightly shortening. It's at was at 2.44. It's now at 2.42. So that would indicate a bit of support there for South, or for the unders, or for the overs. But obviously the main market is still favouring the unders. In terms of percentages matched, Nigeria had about 50% of the match bets at the betting exchanges. That's now down to only 26%, so considerable support there for South Korea, obviously. And you can see here they went from about 30% up to 59% of the match bets. So again, we'll obviously have to look over the next 24 hours, as this will be where the most of the money will be placed. And the draw stayed a bit flat at around 15%. And the over 2.5 goal market also accounts for 15% of the match money there, so the unders comes in at 85%, so obviously people are expecting unders at the betting exchanges. And in terms of the bookies, Nigeria come in at 2.86. That's slightly drifted out from 2.8. South Korea are flat at 2.6, while the draw is slightly drifting at 3.25, coming out from 3.2. The overs is also flat on the week. It's at 2.4, so the unders there is the favoured market as well. Looking at the form, Nigeria have a recent record of 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, so pretty messy form. They lost both their opening games, 2-1 against Greece and 1-0 against Argentina. If they had any hopes of qualifying from the group stages, they would have had to beat Greece. They let their lead slip there, so it doesn't look like they've got much to fight for in this one. South Korea have a recent record of 3 wins and 3 losses, so again a bit of a messy recent form, very hit and miss. They beat Greece in their opening game 2-0, and then they lost their second game 4-1 to Argentina. This would be the first game between the two sides. Looking at the streaks, Nigeria haven't won a game at the World Cup in 7 attempts, so that's particularly poor there. We'll see if they actually will manage to pick up a win in that. South Korea have only 1 clean sheet in their last 7 World Cup games. That was against Greece and their opening game, so not a very good defensive record there from South Korea. Looking at the rankings, Nigeria come in at 21st in the FIFA World Rankings, while they come in 33rd in the ELO rankings. South Korea then come in at 47th in the FIFA rankings, while they come in at 22nd in the ELO rankings. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there. ELO has South Korea lower, while FIFA have Nigeria lower. And I think I'd put more faith in the ELO rankings in this one, given that South Korea actually has something to play for, and while Nigeria is just playing for pride, really. The referee in this one is Oligardo Benquerencia. He's from Portugal. He's refed 56 international games. He's given 230 230 yellow cards, giving an average of 4.11 yellows per game, so that is a bit higher than average. He's given 13 yellow or 13 red cards in those 56 games, so that is about average compared to the other referees in this World Cup. And he's given 13 penalties, again giving an average of 0.23. Again, this kind of falls in with the average of the other referees in this World Cup. In terms of goals scored in qualification, just one more thing about the referee. He ref the Japan versus Cameroon game. He gave 2 yellow cards in that game, so nothing controversial from him in that one. There was no reds and no penalties, no dodgy decisions. Getting back to the goals scored in qualification, Nigeria scored an average of 1.5 goals per game, while they conceded an average of 0.66 goals per game. The competition there wasn't the best, so that's why they have such a good defensive record in that. And South Korea went undefeated in their qualifications. They scored an average of 1.5 goals per game, while conceding just an average of 0.375 goals per game. So again, the competition here wasn't the best, so hence their good defensive displays. Looking at the probabilities, the computer probabilities gives Nigeria a 27% chance of victory. It gives South Korea a 46% chance of victory. So no doubting here who's the favourite. And the draw comes in at 27%, which is the same as Nigeria's chances. Looking at the implied probabilities based on the bookmakers odds, they have Nigeria at 32% chance of victory, and South Korea are at 38% chance of victory, so that's a bit higher on Nigeria, a bit lower on South Korea, where the draw comes in at 30%, so again that's a little bit higher than the computer probabilities. The computer probabilities would suggest that South Korea are still good value at the current odds, since they do have something to play for, and you would have to fancy them as they look like the better team so far in this World Cup. Looking to suggestions, you'd obviously have to fancy South Korea on the handicaps at the match odds. Obviously you'd have to fancy the unders in this game, and neither side have really scored too many goals in this competition so far. So you would expect unders to prevail here. Check out twitter.com/BetHelper for some up-to-date analysis and betting tips. Leave any comments or suggestions below, or you can email them to BetHelper.ie at gmail.com. Look forward to tomorrow's final Group B games, and thanks for listening.